for the road, man. Overcoming adversity, learning from scars, falling, getting back up again. Overcoming adversity, stogie for the road, stogie for the road, stogie for the road, stogie for the road, stogie for the road.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of a Stogie for the Road podcast. I am your host, Stogie, a.k.a. Sean. It is good to have y'all back. I'm sorry I missed last week. Things got hectic crazy. You know how it goes, but we're back, and we're going to try to double up this week. We're trying to get 2 out so we can catch up. How are you doing, folks? How are you coping with everything that's going on, all the craziness, the good, the bad, the ugly, and all that good stuff? Well, I'm doing all right. I'm coping okay with it. Considering the circumstances, considering the way things are, and considering the way people are, I think I'm doing all right. I'm not doing great, but I think I'm doing all right. I've been noticing a lot of stuff lately when it comes to how we're interacting with each other as human beings, preferably like male and female, that dynamic now. I was watching the Joe Rogan the other day, and they had that Caleb Hammer. He's a financial guy. And he was talking about the big divide between men and women right now, the red pill movement and that gender divide that's going on. And he says it's awful. It is truly awful. Men are in love with hating women, and women are in love with hating men, and there's just like a big wall between men and women. And I kind of touched on this on one of my last podcasts about people have this kind of concept of surplus. Everybody just thinks, oh, you just swap them out. Too many red flags. The guy nose whistles when he breathes, and she's got the ugly laugh to where I don't like the way she laughs, or you know, he drags his feet when he walks or something like that, and they just end the relationship. I mean, and by and large, there's a lot of people that are out there shopping for a new partner while they're still in a relationship with somebody that does not, I guess, fit the mold of what they need. You know, I heard the other day, they said about women, by the time you know that she's gone, there's literally nothing that you can do about it. That she's left 100 times in her mind, and by the time you find out about it, or by the time she says she's gone, she's gone. And I thought about that, and I'm like, you know, that's men too. Men sit back and they watch, they tally up the times that they've been marginalized and taken for granted, and how many times they've asked to be seen and heard, and the big one, respected. And it just gets glazed over and passed over, and men just kind of go, huh, okay. Now, men react to all of that in a different fashion. Some men, they cheat, they get addicted to porn, they find coping mechanisms, whether it's alcohol or drugs. And some men that are confident in their own, I guess, masculinity and their own self-confidence and things like that, they just say, this doesn't work for me, goodbye. And it's done. You know, there's time when I talk to my kids or I talk to people, when I say, you know, this is the way it is, and man, do I mean it. And when I say that, and man, do I mean it, man, do I mean it. Going to be 50 soon, and I think a lot about how far I've come in my life and how many times I've kind of betrayed myself when I said, this is the way that I want my life to be. And then I get to the crossroads of moving in that direction, and somebody grabs me by the ear or by the nose and takes me all the way to the left. And then I have to work my way back. And then I say, this is the way it's going to be, and this is the direction I'm going. And then, well, you're not going to do that, are you? No, I'm not going to do it. It can wait. And then you blink your eyes and you're 50 fucking years old. You're 50 years old and you're wondering where all the time went and why you've evolved into the person that you've evolved into and how many times you got angry and you've lashed out irrationally because you're tired. It goes for both genders. I don't know if it's this new convenience that we have as people to where we just say, okay, well, worst case scenario, I'll do this or I'll do that. And then you get, older and you kind of watch people. I'm a people watcher. I watch people when they talk. I say very little because I'm taking it all in. And I watch the mannerisms and I watch the ups and downs and the roller coasters and the cycles, that circular motion. When they do this, they work their way to here and then they go back and they work their way here and they go back. We all have patterns as people. And one of the big problems that we're having right now is this whole dating thing, this whole courtship thing. Everybody wants to swap him out for Mr. 666, the old 6 foot tall, 6-pack abs and 6 figures. All the women out there that want that 1% man, but they are in the 36th percentile. I said in one of my last podcasts, everybody wants what their grandmother gave, but they're not willing to give what their grandfather gave. You're only going to get what you put out. You're not going to have that guy that does everything under the sun for you and will throw his overcoat over a mud puddle for you to walk over so you don't get your heels dirty. If you're telling him that guy over there is more of a viable option for you. I don't know. It's a peculiar time in our life where AI is altering reality and the internet is making things seem easier than they really are, and you're overwhelmed with all these choices. Have you noticed that we've turned dating into almost like I said earlier, online shopping? Nobody's in a relationship anymore. They're in a free trial? Everybody's got one foot out the door. I just don't know if he's my forever person. Really? You've been dating the guy for 3 months, sugar. He's still introducing you to his friends, and you've already got 6 backup plans and a guy named Tyler in your DMs who's just a friend. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Are you serious? We're not dating anymore. We're hedging investments. Everybody's got this diversified emotional portfolio. The whole culture is obsessed with options. Options. It makes me sick. Don't settle. Girl, know your worth. Keep your standards high. Upgrade. We've taken investment advice and turned it into dating advice. People are treating relationships like they're shopping for a fucking SUV. Honey, this one's making a weird noise. Trade it in. Nobody fixes anything anymore. Everybody throws it away. You see washers and dryers on the side of the road. You might as well see husbands and wives on the side of the road. Phone slows down, new phone. TV breaks, new TV. Vacuum quits, throw it away. Relationships get difficult. Maybe my soulmate is in the Scottsdale area. I can move out there and start anew. The weather's a lot better. Really? That's your conclusion, Brandy? Not therapy, not communication, not growing the fuck up. No, can't have that. Jessica from yoga says Mercury is in retrograde, so now we're downloading 3 fucking dating apps and swiping away. Social media has completely destroyed everybody's expectations. Total false reality. Every day you're watching some influencer talk about if he doesn't fly you to Greece, if she doesn't worship the ground you walk on, if they don't heal your inner child, shut the fuck up. Your grandfather met your grandmother because they both happened to buy potatoes at the same grocery store. Nobody healed anybody. They just figured it out. They asked each other, who's making dinner? I guess I'll do it tonight, honey. Moving on. Everybody thinks there's somebody better. That's the addiction. There's always somebody better. Not love, just possibility. You don't even know if the next person is better. He might be bipolar with a fucking coke problem. But hey, he's handsome. And he just bought you a shitload of stuff. You're just fascinated by the fact that they're new. Of course they're exciting. They haven't left beard hair in your sink yet. They haven't stolen your hoodie. They haven't forgotten your birthday. They haven't gotten comfortable enough to annoy you. Give it 6 months. Congratulations. You have a new human being. Now make do with it. All doing the same annoying human being things, by the way. I love when people say, I've just fallen out of love. That is absolute horseshit. You got lazy. What does that even mean? Did you trip? Does your love have a wet floor sign? Are you going to be okay? Did you blow out a hammy? I was carrying groceries. The next thing I knew, I wasn't in love anymore. You're full of shit. You've stopped investing because you're looking over the fence at a different life. There's a difference. Now, before all the comments and messages explode, no, I'm not talking about abusive relationships. That's absolutely something you should walk away from. I'm not talking about cheating. You should absolutely walk away from it. I'm not talking about somebody treating you like shit. Leave. Absolutely. I'm talking about two decent people who've convinced themselves that ordinary relationship problems mean they chose the wrong person. Sometimes it doesn't mean you chose the wrong person. Sometimes it means congratulations. You're finally in a real relationship. People stop investing. People stop caring. When shit gets hard, just hang up. Oh, so as soon as the guy starts talking about how he feels like you're treating him like shit, you don't want to hear it. Okay. Then you wonder why he leaves. When you roll your eyes at your woman and she's saying, I don't feel seen, I don't feel heard. And you're like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And you wonder why she leaves. We've confused peace with perfection. Good luck finding that. People think peace means we never argue. Get out of here. You're not a couple if you don't argue. No, peace means we do argue and nobody packs a suitcase. That's called maturity. We become committed to this phobia of relationships because we become option addicted. You're just addicted to the fact that, you know what, I could probably do better. Every disagreement. I wonder who liked my story today. Every rough patch. I bet somebody appreciates me more. Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe they're just better at pretending for 3 weeks. And that's what you see it all the time. I deserve this. I deserve that. Well, then go fucking find it. Because the thousands of women out there and the thousands and hundreds of thousands of men out there, and they all have the same philosophy. Dating sucks. It absolutely sucks. It's spin the wheel of destiny. Does this person have a drug problem? Is she a rageaholic? Is she abusive? Is he abusive? Do they have some sort of skeletons in their closet they're going to rear their ugly head a year and a half from now? Good luck. If I had a nickel for how many times I've seen women out there, because like men and women are different. Men, they'll do it and do it and do it, and then they'll just be like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm done with this. I'm done with dating. And then they throw themselves into work, and they say, okay, that's cool. I got a $1.3 million home, a Maserati, and a Ferrari, and I don't have to worry about this bullshit. However, they miss out on all the beautiful things, being surrounded by people that you love and they love you. It's a big chance you're taking. How many women out there that are just like, I went out on this date, this guy's this way, so I went out with this guy and I went out with this guy. By and large, a lot of these women, and this is going to not be popular, but a lot of these women, they go out on all these dates with all these guys and they fuck them all. They're sleeping with every guy that takes them out to dinner. And then they wonder why they are shattered and a shell of a fucking woman when a good guy comes to the table and says, I want to be with you. And then he finds out all this bullshit in your past and says, yeah, I'm going to pass. See ya. Here's my favorite part about all this. Everybody says, I just want someone who chooses me every day. Okay, great. Do you choose them every day? Or do you make that person feel like you are going to swap him out at a moment's notice if he colors outside of the lines? Do you spend half your time mentally interviewing replacements because they forgot to text you good morning on Tuesday? The truth is, love isn't maintained by constantly asking, could I do better? It's maintained by asking, what can we build together that neither of us could build alone? That's the part nobody talks about anymore, and nobody wants to hear. Building isn't fucking glamorous. When was the last time you seen a perfectly clean construction worker building a house? It takes patience. You can't rush it. It takes forgiveness. It takes time. It takes conversations you'd rather avoid any day of the week. It takes listening as much as you talk. It takes choosing repair over replacement. We become a culture of consumers instead of builders. Hands down. We've consumed entertainment, news. We consume people. We consume relationships. Then when the novelty wears off, we blame the product. It's all men. It's all women. Maybe the problem isn't that people have become disposable. Maybe it's that we've started thinking like shoppers for people instead of partners. If every inconvenience sets us back to the marketplace to go shop for a new person, we'll spend our lives chasing the excitement of something new without ever earning the depth that only comes from staying long enough to build something real. And you know what kills me? Everybody says, I refuse to settle. Really? Because from where I'm sitting, you've settled into being perpetually single. Congratulations. You've held out for perfection so fucking long. You're now arguing with customer service because DoorDash forgot your ranch dressing. That's your soulmate now. Congratulations. You're eating alone. We're not looking for partners anymore. We're looking for software updates. My boyfriend, he's a version 3.2 and he's got abs and he drives a new Audi. But I hear version 4.0 has emotional intelligence. No, Karen. Version 4.0 has a credit card debt, sleep apnea, and unresolved mommy issues. You just haven't unlocked that level yet. That's called time. Dating apps are hilarious. People act like they're on HGTV. I like his personality, but can we knock out this wall, put in quartz countertops, make him 6'3" with a trust fund and emotionally available? Ma'am, you're shopping for a man, not remodeling a kitchen. We've got people throwing away 10-year relationships because Chad smiled at them at the produce aisle. Oh my God. He looked at me while I was buying avocados. Maybe this is fate. No. He's comparing prices on guacamole ingredients. Calm down. And don't get me started on these relationship gurus. Every single one of them sitting in front of their ring light, wearing a wide brim hat, holding a coffee mug the size of a fucking bird bath. If your partner doesn't validate every emotion you have, leave immediately. Really? Because my grandfather validated exactly one emotion. I'm hungry. That was it. You hungry? No. 48 years married. And they're madly in love. Everybody's got a non-negotiable list now. I need confidence, humor, ambition, financial stability, emotional availability, great communication, fitness, travel, adventure, spontaneity, good with kids, good with dogs, close to their family, not too close to their family though, spiritual but not weird. Lady, you're describing Batman. Batman isn't even emotionally available. And social media has convinced everyone they're one breakup away from their best life ever. You don't need him, queen. Slay, queen. And all that bullshit that nauseates the hell out of me. Easy for you to say. You're posting that from your couch, eating cereal for dinner, arguing with strangers about scented candles. And here's my favorite fantasy. I just want someone who chooses me every day. Okay, that is absolutely a beautiful sentiment. Now, what happens on day 487? What happens on day 1,125 when you both work 12-hour days? The dog threw up on the carpet and the kids colored on the walls. The washing machine exploded and neither one of you looks like your profile picture anymore. That's where the love lives. Not in Bali, not in engagement photos, not in matching pajamas. Right there. Covered in drywall dust and sweat. Trying to figure out why the smoke detector won't stop beeping. You know what we've become? Relationship tourists. Nobody wants to be a citizen. Everybody's just visiting. Everybody wants that vacation package. I want passion. No shit. Sure you do. Passion's great. You know what passion also looks like? Fighting over whose turn it is to clean the frickin' bathroom. Splitting hospital bills. Sitting in an emergency room for 8 hours because somebody you love got hurt. Or somebody that means the world to you is hurting. That's love. It doesn't just get 1 million views on Instagram. People say, I've lost the spark. Yeah, of course you did. You know what else loses its spark? A campfire. If nobody throws on another damn log, then everybody stands around, well, I guess the fire just wasn't meant to be. Meanwhile, there's an entire pile of firewood sitting right next to you. I swear, we build a society where everybody wants rewards without commitment, without the inconvenience of commitment. I want loyalty. Great. Then be loyal. Don't turn your back and betray the person you say you love when shit gets hard. I want trust. Awesome. Can they trust you with their life? Be trustworthy then. I want unconditional love. That's adorable. You block somebody because they forgot your birthday. Here's the truth. Nobody puts on those fucking motivational posters anymore. The person you're with is going to disappoint you. And I mean a lot. And guess what? You are going to disappoint them. And I mean a lot. You're going to say the wrong thing. Forget something important. Be selfish sometimes. Be stressed, be tired, be difficult. That's not evidence that the relationship is broken. That's evidence that two imperfect people are trying to share one life. And maybe, just fucking maybe, the greatest rebellion in a world obsessed with upgrades isn't finding somebody new. It's becoming the kind of person who says, this is worth fixing. Because anybody can chase novelty. Building something that lasts. That's the rare skill now. That's the thing we've stopped teaching. And maybe that's why so many people have endless first dates. And so few have stories that are still worth telling 30 years later. I'm telling you folks, 30 years from now, those old videos of those old couples, sitting next to their hospital bed when the love of their life is taking their last breath. Those are going to be very few and far between. You know who's making a fortune? I'll tell you. It's this psychology and self-help industry. I threw my hat in the ring for a little while. You know what I saw? Nobody's telling people, maybe stay and learn how to have an uncomfortable conversation. Stop running. No, everything is cut them off, cut him off, cut her off, cut your parents off, cut your siblings off, cut your neighbors off. Pretty soon you're sitting in a 4-bedroom house with no friends, 3 dogs, and a therapist, and an Amazon driver who's become your closest fucking relationship. We become allergic to inconvenience. I'll tell you what. The second somebody says something we don't like to hear, we diagnose them. He's emotionally unavailable. Maybe he's been at work since 5 a.m. and doesn't want to spend 3 hours discussing why you used a period instead of a heart emoji. Maybe that's it. Everybody's a fucking therapist now. Nobody's a mechanic. Nobody fixes anything. Everything's a diagnosis. I've been doing the work. What work? Watching 37 TikToks about why he's a narcissist? Listening to a podcast about folding laundry? That's not doing the work. That's entertainment. And you know it. I love these videos. If they wanted to, they would. Really? Let's just test that. If you wanted to go to the gym, you would have. If you wanted to stop eating Oreos, you would have. If you wanted to save money, you would have. Funny how human behavior suddenly gets complicated the second it's about us. But when it's your partner, they're toxic. Go fuck yourself. And don't even get me started on the ick. That's a relationship ending event now. He sneezed weird. We're done. He wore New Balance shoes. Divorce. I watched him run to catch an airplane. I can't unsee it. Meanwhile, your grandmother watched your grandfather accidentally light his own sleeve on fire while grilling hot dogs. And she said, well, that's Harold. 52 years later. We got people saying, I deserve peace. Sure, we all do. But sometime and somewhere along the way, peace has become confused with never being challenged. Peace is being confused with this life of ease to where it's just calm waters. You fucking toddlers. If somebody disagrees, leave. If somebody changes, leave. If life gets stressful, leave. At some point, you're not protecting your peace. You're protecting yourself from growth. That's what you're doing. And that's why you're a 45-year-old spoiled brat. And here's the crazy part. People keep saying, I'm finally choosing myself. Fantastic. Choose yourself. Go to the gym, start a business, read books, take care of yourself. But choosing yourself shouldn't automatically mean abandoning everyone the second they become inconvenient. Those are two completely different things. You know what nobody brags about online? The Tuesday night where you both are exhausted, you ordered cheap pizza, watch the same show you've watched 12 times, and laugh at something completely stupid because nobody else on earth would understand that joke. That is the good stuff. There's a song about that. That simple stuff, the good stuff. Nobody posts it because it's not cinematic. But that's what a shared life looks like. I think we've become addicted to new beginnings. The first dates, the first kiss, first vacation, the first I love you. Everything's exciting because it's unknown. But a meaningful life isn't built on endless beginnings. It's built on what you do after the excitement wears off. And that's where the loyalty starts. And that's where the trust starts. And that's where the character shows up. You know what's ironic? Everybody says they're looking for someone safe. And the moment a relationship becomes stable, predictable, comfortable, they complain. I don't feel the butterflies anymore. Well, of course not. Your nervous system isn't supposed to think you're being chased by a tiger every time your spouse walks into the kitchen. Butterflies are exciting. Security is way quieter. One isn't automatically better than the other. I think the biggest scam ever sold wasn't by a politician. It wasn't by Wall Street. It wasn't by Hollywood. It was the idea that somewhere out there there's a perfect person who will never disappoint you. That's not romance. It's marketing. Because if you believe perfection is just around the corner, you'll keep shopping forever. And man, do I mean it. If you keep shopping forever, you'll never build anything worth keeping. Maybe the bravest thing left in 2026 is not finding somebody new. Maybe it's looking across the table after the honeymoon is over, after the fights, after the boredom, after the setbacks, and saying, I still think you're worth fighting with instead of fighting against. Because in a world where everything is disposable, a relationship that survives real life is starting to become one of the rarest things you'll ever see. You know what I think people have completely lost sight of? They think loyalty is everywhere. They think effort is everywhere. They think love is everywhere. It isn't. You know what's everywhere? Attention, validation, flirting, dating apps. People who will tell you exactly what you want to hear for about 90 days. That is everywhere. That guy that truly cares about your problem, he is everywhere. That guy that has ulterior motives, so he'll do the little dance long enough to embed himself into your heart, he's everywhere. And then you'll see the mask slip, and then we all know how that ends. But somebody who gets up every single day at 3 a.m. and chooses you, even when you're difficult, even when you're struggling, even when you're stressed, even when you're not easy to love, that is rare. That's unbelievably rare. And some of you are standing there with one foot out the door because you think the next person is going to love you harder. No. The next person is just going to love the version of you they haven't lived with yet. They don't know your bad habits. They don't know how stubborn you are. They don't know the arguments you'll eventually have. They don't know the sacrifices they'll be asked to make. They're just loving the movie trailer, not the full movie. Some of you are so busy shopping for an upgrade, you don't realize you're about to lose the one person who's been quietly carrying the love for you as it's like their whole life. The one who checked on you, the one who defended you when you weren't in the room, the one who forgave your mistakes and the horrible things you said. The one who kept showing up after every argument. The one who still believed in you when you weren't very lovable. You think people like that grow on trees? They don't. Those people are built over years and years. They're built from a fire that you never got to see. And if you're lucky enough to have one, don't confuse familiarity with a lack of value. The fact that they feel normal now isn't proof that they're ordinary. It's proof they become a part of your life. You know what scares me? Not being alone. I was an over-the-road truck driver for years. Been alone for years. What's scary is waking up 5 years from now realizing the person you left wasn't perfect, but they're real. They were loyal. They were consistent. They were willing to fight for you. And you traded that for the excitement of being desired by someone who didn't even fucking know you. That's a terrible trade. Because anybody worth their salt knows excitement fades, but character doesn't. Everybody wants to be deeply loved. Very few people understand what they're holding when they already have it. A person who keeps choosing you through the bad moods, through the stress, through the boring weeks, through ordinary life is giving you something money cannot buy. Don't be distracted by the possibility of somebody new, that you become blind to the value of someone who's been there all along. Because one day, they may finally get tired of being treated like they're replaceable. And when they walk away, it won't necessarily be because they stopped loving you. It'll be because they finally believed you when your actions kept saying that they were disposable. And by the time you realize what you've lost, they may have already given the best parts of that love to someone who recognized it and sees the value of it. Now let me leave you with this. Some of you are already playing the most dangerous game you'll ever play. You're testing the patience. You're seeing that endurance level of the one person who's never stopped choosing you. You keep thinking they'll always be here. They'll forgive me. They'll understand. They'll wait until one day they don't. Not because they stopped loving you, but because they got tired of being the only one fighting something that took two people to build. See, people think loyalty is weak. That's inaccurate. Loyal people don't leave quickly. They don't threaten to leave every other day. It's very quiet. They don't go looking for the next shiny thing the second life gets uncomfortable. They stay. They communicate. They forgive. They try again. And because they stay, you start taking them for granted. You'll miss their loyalty, I can assure you. You mistake their loyalty for weakness. That's the big thing. You mistake their forgiveness for permission. You mistake their patience for permanence. And that's where people lose the greatest thing they'll ever have. Because one day that loyal person wakes up not angry, not hateful, just done. They don't yell anymore. They don't beg anymore. They don't chase anymore. They just simply accept the reality that they can't carry the relationship that way anymore. And let me tell you something. When a loyal person finally walks away, they usually don't come back because they didn't leave on impulse. They left after an exhausting process. They tried every reason to stay. And that's when it hits you. The dating apps are still there. The attention is still there. The compliments, oh, they're still there. But not a damn bit of it feels like home. Because you traded someone who knew your soul for people that knew your profile picture. You traded history for chemistry. You traded trust for attention. You traded commitment for curiosity. And curiosity has an expiration date. Here's some hard truth for you. That grass isn't greener because someone else is better. The grass is greener where two people refuse to stop watering it. If every time life gets hard, your answer is, maybe there's someone better, eventually you'll discover something very devastating. There will always be someone newer. There will always be someone more exciting. There will always be someone who gives you butterflies. But butterflies don't raise children. Butterflies don't sit beside you in the emergency room. Butterflies don't hold your hand when you bury your loved ones. Butterflies don't stay up all night worrying when you don't come home. Character does. Loyalty does. And commitment does. So before you convince yourself that your next relationship is going to solve the problems you refuse to work through, I need you to ask yourself one question. Am I leaving because this relationship is truly unhealthy? Or because I've convinced myself that somewhere out there, there is a fantasy that doesn't require sacrifice? Because if you keep treating people like they're replaceable, don't act shocked when one day that person who would have gone to war for you decides to build a peaceful life without you. That's the tragedy. Not that you lost a relationship, that you lost the one person who kept choosing you while everyone else was still deciding. Guys, I hope this finds you well. I hope this summons that strength inside of you that fights against all the bullshit rhetoric that's out there where people tell you there's something better around the corner. I hope you can look in the mirror and say, shit isn't perfect, but was it ever? Quiet gets really heavy in those moments when you're alone. But it gets even heavier when that's compiled with regret. When you're sitting there all by yourself going, what have I done? There's something very unique about people. There's bad in everybody and there's good in everybody. But if you're lucky enough to find that person and you have that bond where you can say that that's just not my lover, that's my best friend, that payoff in the end, that beautiful, beautiful payoff at the end of the race of life, where you know that person that you love more than you love anything in the world, that person will be holding your hand when you're taking your last breath. That's the big payoff in the end. I think about this shit all the time. I spend a lot of time alone when I was on the road. I thought about this a lot when my marriage ended. That sobering feeling, like, if my truck goes off the road right now, my person is now gone. And if I'm stuck in the bottom of a mountain and I know I'm going to die, it could be maybe days before anybody even knows I'm gone. Who's going to get the call? That good stuff is when you have a person that's so connected to you, so in tune to you, that at 5:05, when you miss that 5 o'clock phone call, alarms go off in their head. Something must be wrong. Where is he? Is he okay? And if he's not, how quick can I get to him? You have to ask yourself, am I giving the same that I'm receiving? They say relationships aren't supposed to be transactional. But when you have a partner that's sitting there and wondering, when's it going to be my time? Are you recognizing it? What a weird, weird time we live in now. What a strange time it is. Never in a million years when I was going to those teen dances in junior high when I'm like, oh, I just want a girlfriend, did I ever think that we would be in a era where you just pick up your phone, open up an app, and just browse like you're going through the shirt rack at the store. This one will look good on me. God, folks, I'm begging you to smarten the fuck up. A lot of you guys already know this. And if you're in a relationship to where you're in the receiving end of it, say something. Give the person you love the opportunity to stop the bleeding. Anyway, guys, I hope this finds you well. I hope you're happy, healthy, loving and living life. And I'll see you all next time.
Stogie for the road.